Mother's Day 2012. And we're sharing that with our friends and family on Nightline and Remember When. And Rhonda Burchmore is one of those members of our family.
Hello, Rhonda. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you so much, boys. Oh, yeah, I've had a busy one. I've been in Launceston today, but back for your lovely call tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. What was Launceston about, Rhonda?
30 years ago, apparently, Daryl Summers and Harry Seacombe opened the Launceston Country Club Casino, and they invited me down to perform the 30-year anniversary. So there I was doing what I do down there, and a bit colder actually than even Melbourne down there today.
I went down there in the afternoon program on 3AW to do the opening with Gary Meadows.
Oh, wow.
In the afternoon.
Crazy, because I did my first, I think, kind of, cabaret gig down there with the headliner was Marty Roan and Denim and Lace.
Oh, Denim and Lace. Rhonda, as it's Mother's Day, was Mum a singer? Was she involved in show business?
Mum was not in any ways. She was a kind of, unfortunately, her dad was an alcoholic, and she was pretty much out to work when she was about 13 years old. But her absolute love was to kind of escape on a Sunday to the black and white musical movies of the 40s. And so that was her absolute, love, and with all the costumes and all the tapping and the dancing. And so when us kids were growing up, that was kind of a thing that we do, anytime a musical, a Fred Astaire or a Gene Kelly or an Ann Miller movie came on, we had to kind of stop it. The household stopped and we had to watch that. And,
where were you living then?
I was in Sydney. I grew up in Sydney, a very humble little street. Mind you, the funny thing is they did the Australian story on myself, and my neighbour was actually Mark Burris, who is, of course, has been doing...
Oh, yes, Apprentice.
The Apprentice, and there was only 10 people in that street, and the fact that, Mark was next door, and the first Greek family in the street, and the Burchmores were next door, it's kind of quite extraordinary that he's gone off and been so successful, and, I've done what I want to do.
Yeah, well, both of you have been in your own field.
Yeah, very, very different.
Now, what can you remember as Mum, as her specialty? Did she have a dish that she cooked for you all as one of her specialties?
Mum was, and she was kind of fairly thrifty, but thrifty with food and cooking. I remember my dad was in transport, but she used to get, and she was a stay-at-home mum, but the money that she got used to be spent on the best quality fabrics and materials and bling for my stage costumes and my sisters. So she was quite the woman making our costumes, and I mean, not a favourite dish. I mean, we'd have pretty much basic veggie on white bread and an apple for lunch, and a lamb chop and salad for dinner. But my fondest memories of Mum is, hours and hours into the early hours of the morning, sewing sequins and diamantes onto frocks for my sister and I to make us kind of the best dressed girls in the Stedford.
So what were you doing? So you were competing for Stedfords and Talent Quests?
Yeah. Stedfords were very, very big. I know they're here in Victoria too, but they were kind of very big in Sydney, and we went into like national comps and stuff. And a lot of people say, was Mum a stage mother? Well, she kind of it's a funny thing. It was great encouragement, and I mean the fact that she used to copy all those designs from the 40s and stuff, and we were the best dressed kids, but. I guess, one has to make up one's mind, when they want to do it for themselves rather than just for their mum or their dad. But, I had incredibly fond memories of the support that Mum gave us girls and my brother, growing up.
And, of course, Rhonda, in those days, mothers neither worked nor drove a car, did they?
No, and, Absolutely not. And, I had, as I said, a very, very humble, in a little cul-de-sac in Sydney, in Punchbowl, which, is very, very different to kind of, where even Mum lives now. And, just that very working class kind of, growing up and, good values and things like that, which hopefully me as a mum has instilled on my daughter Lexi. So.
Well, now Lexi's growing up. I mean, she's a teenager now, isn't she?
She's 16, going on 17, and I'm probably, as most parents would say, but I'm very, very proud of Lexi and of all those good things that she, qualities that she possesses, and a year 11 student, and very into rowing, which is she said, I wanted to do something, Mum, that you and Dad don't do. So she's kind of achieving great things there. So that's, mind you, the early mornings are a bit of a killer, but there you go.
Isn't it amazing? How does that interest come along?
I have no idea, because no Burchmore on my dad's side or my mum. I have no clue. One day, I think the school encourages them to try, a sport like rowing out, and then she was in the nationals this year. So it's a I don't know where it came from, but she loves it, and I think it's a great sport for young girls and boys.
Yeah, wonderful. By the way, you've got a show. You've got a concert coming up at is it the Comedy?
Oh, in August, yeah.
I know, and I got your lovely. You've got a lot to like.
Don't say. Oh no, don't sing the word.
Filter, flavor, flipped up.
We'll lose our license.
Why the song, Phil? What's the talk?
Because Julie London sang that song for many years, and Rhonda's including that in her floor show at the Comedy Theatre.
How do you know?
I know, we've talked about it.
Yeah, Julie London. I don't think Phil. I don't think her story has ever been told. I think you get Judy Garland, Piaf, and Dusty, and I don't think the Julie London story's ever been told. And it was just one day about 8 years ago. I kind of looked at. I love her music. Everything from Cry Me a River to the American Songbook. Blue Moon and Bye Bye Blackbird, and You'd Be So Nice to Come Home To. And I thought, oh my goodness, this girl is just. I just love the sound of her voice, and she's a redhead and she's very glamorous, and so a story has been written about her life, and I don't try to imitate her, but I'm going off to do the music of Julie London and her world, and Frank Housen wrote the original treatment, and then we've developed it since, so it's very exciting that Dennis Smith has actually gone out to produce the show to bring it into the Comedy in August.
Now make sure you have a catwalk so it can be intimate. You can get down into the audience.
Oh yes, and that voice that is so she was a fairly old, sexy old thing, and that voice was as she said, she only has a thimbleful of voice, but it's amplified in a way that I think she I mean it's a very easy sound to listen to.
She's a torch singer, wasn't she?
Yes, died too young too.
Yeah, and she married to Jack Webb of Dragnet.
Oh, Dragnet, yes.
And of course, she also had quite a few years. She was nominated Golden Globe for Nurse Dixie McCall in Emergency. So
that's right.
Yeah, she was very underrated until now. I'm sure you'll turn that around.
Well, when you look, to delve into her history, she had 32 albums, which is no mean feat for any singer, and put Liberty Records on the map. So it's a wonderful songbook, and what we promise at the Comedy is, that wonderful to transport you back to kind of the 50s. Those you can imagine, Phil and Bruce, those times when Ella and Peggy Lee used to sing in those smoky clubs and sing all that wonderful music.
And the good news is box office tickets open this week, I believe, for the Comedy.
Tomorrow, I believe, we're on sale. So I came back and was very, very happy. I saw the ad in the paper today. So hopefully there's room for your listeners to come and listen to a bit of reminisce and listen to a bit of Julie London.
You're in for a great night with Rhonda Burchmore. What's the show called?
It's called Cry Me a River, The World of Julie London.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And give us the dates, please.
I think we're the 16th to the 19th of August at the Comedy Theatre. We've got matinees in there, and for the people, you know, that maybe not want to come out at night. And then so we've got about 6 shows that week. So, and the comedy, I mean, as I said, we've got a big band led by Ray Aldridge. So, and it doesn't get much better than the musos that we've handpicked in there.
Right.
We've even got a vibes player. How about that to create the time?
The music of, what was his name? George Shearing. Vibes player. Good on you.
George Shearing has this wonderful quote about Julie London, and he said, he was in town the same time Julie London was playing, and he said, Julie's sold about 25 albums, but about 25,000 covers, because she was very much of a pin-up girl, he thought, rather than a musician.
Yeah, and he was blind, of course, wasn't he? He never saw her.
All right, Rhonda.
Okay, much love, and thank you. I hope you're going to join me on my opening night down there.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight on Memories of Mum and Growing Up at Punch Bowl.
Yay.
Thanks,
guys.
Rhonda.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. On Mother's Day 2012, and one that